Good evening, everybody. This is the fifth video of the Dynamic Discipleship podcast. Waiting on Seth Felder to join us in, my co-host for the evening. Yeah, I hope everybody's having a good day so far. We're back up and running again after a little bit of a hiatus, but we're looking forward to getting into some stuff tonight for the broadcast tonight for our fifth video. Let me see. Seth, you there yet? All right. Should be good to go soon. All right. Seth Felder. Can you hear me at all, Seth? Tap T. All right, gotcha. All right, Seth should be coming in shortly. All right, Seth. Are you in yet? I just approved your request to join. It says no answer from live video guest. Seth, are you on the broadcast? I can't see your image or screen. Be adding shortly.
Hey, all right.
Hey, Seth. Sorry about that, man.
No, it's
Technical
good.
difficulties.
I was trying to like get it to work off my iPad, and like I could hear you, and it kept saying like you were there, but it wouldn't let me like click the button. So I
Nah, it's all
switched
good.
into my phone. I guess it's being delayed from the iPad.
No worries. I miss the studio, man. Now when we make mistakes, it's live for everybody to see.
That's
The
cool.
20 people that may see this, but it's all good though. We're about to get rolling. So how's it going, man? I just talked with you on the phone earlier, but I guess we can catch up again.
Yeah,
How you
man.
been?
Life is kicking me while I'm down a little bit right now. I'm trying to keep things going and got a little vacation time in, and car broke
Good.
down, and a whole bunch of like crazy stuff started happening like right when I was trying to go on vacation, and so I went to the beach for a day. So now I'm back in town, and
Okay.
I've got like a super slammed week but no car, so I'm trying to figure out like how to get places.
Wow, man. I know
Crazy.
that's a lot, man. We are so dependent on transportation and everything. So I know that's been a big adjustment to get used to that. But I hope that your beach week was very rejuvenating and refreshing.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was just a day trip. Went
Oh,
down.
day
There's
trip.
a gig that I do in New Bern. It's called Housewives in the City, and it's like a marketing agency puts it on, and they have like some mid-level marketing stuff. Like they sell like earrings and candles
Mm.
and like makeup and stuff for girls, and I just go hang out down there and play some background music and let them use a
Nice.
microphone. So it's fun.
Cool, man. Good. Good stuff. Good stuff, man. I could definitely use a beach day myself, but
Yeah.
hope I can get one soon. All right, man. Well, we're ready to jump in.
Yeah.
So you and I both were at the Triangle Church of Christ this past Sunday,
Yep.
and the sermon was about a very interesting topic known as the Greek word is libertines that we talked about, basically meaning people that we're going to read about in Jude,
Okay.
people that are not very, I guess, in today's world, you would see them as Christians, but the Bible defines them as basically being the opposite of Christians. So let's just go ahead and jump into Jude. I'm going to read a few scriptures just to introduce the topic of what a libertine is.
Sounds good.
In Jude is only one chapter. So verse 4 talks about, it says, certain individuals have condemnation, whose condemnation was written long ago, has secretly slipped in among you. They are ungodly people who pervert the grace of our God into a license for immortality and deny Jesus Christ, our only sovereign and Lord. And then verse 16 says, these people are grumblers and fault finders. They follow their own evil desires. They boast about themselves and flatter others for their own advantage. So that's definitely really very eye-popping, man. It's definitely something that grabs your attention. When you think about this what Rick labeled them as libertine, what would you say that in today's society, what does a libertine look like today? Like, who would you say, or what would they look like today if they were here
Okay.
among us?
So I'm gonna start off by saying I actually had kind of a hard time with the sermon and hearing that because it's true, because I know what it is and what's going on, and I feel like without being judgmental, most of the people I know fall into that category. Where a lot of the people I hang out with, a lot of the people I know, go to various churches and do various things, and I catch myself even sometimes, like, everybody's always, we live in the United States, it's a Christian nation,
Right.
where like everybody's claiming to be Christians, but like you still got people like doing all, I mean, you got the super extremes, you got people killing each other and like, doing like abuses and all kinds of craziness. And those same people are calling themselves Christians. But even on like, I guess what I wouldn't consider like a super, like on the same category, like I've been cussed out by somebody because I cut them off in traffic and then seen that person at a church service. Like, so it's just like one of those kind of things where it's like, all right, well, where does that like grace line lie versus like, okay, so like the part that I guess kind of I had a hard time with, and it kind of hit me a little bit, was the whole, it says, the path is narrow and only a few are going to make it.
Right.
And I don't know what a few is. Like, that's not a number. So like, I'm like, all right, well, I like to think I'm in that few. Like, I believe that, that I'm living like I'm trying my best and I'm living my life the way I need to live my life and different things like that. But like, it's hard to be able to tell, because what we talked about with the Libertines, and like those people are even deceived themselves. It's not like they're purposefully like tricking people or trying to like do stuff. It's like they don't know themselves.
Right.
So that's what made that like that made that a hard one, because there's a, if I'm going to be honest about it, I have quite a few friends who claim to be, and I would like to think like in the end they're going to be okay and they're going to make it to heaven, but like based off of the way they live their life, they're not disciples. Like, it's the difference between disciples and Christians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point, man. It's interesting because verse 4 again talks about how they've slipped in among you, like it slipped in among the congregation, and goes back to what you were saying. It's not always easy to identify somebody that is that the Bible is talking about here, and someone that's a real disciple, someone that's a real follower of Jesus. It's not always obvious what it is, especially on Sunday services, man. Like, it's easy for everybody to come in, their Sunday best, not only their attire, but also their behavior. People tend to be on their best behavior when they're in church. But really, I think it comes down to, what are you doing, like you said, day by day? What is your life like outside of these four walls that we call your church building? The church is the people, not just the building. So outside of these four walls, are you still living church? Are you still a living example of what somebody who is following Jesus should look like? Is that what you look like in your life? And it's really convicting for me because verse 16 gives them characteristics of these people. They're grumblers and fault finders, and follow their own evil desires and boast about themselves. That's pretty deep because I feel that I definitely am capable of grumbling and finding fault in others. And that's the way that most people are. It's easy to find fault in others instead of pointing out your or identifying your own faults. But
Yep.
then when someone points out something imperfect in you, then you're offended and things like that, you know. So these are just some characteristics of people that may be in this class of individuals that we refer to as the libertines. It's really challenging for me because it makes me think like, how real am I
Mm-hmm.
as a Christian, as a disciple? You know, like you were saying, like we live in this country that we say this is a Christian nation, but clearly when you look at the you know, when you look at things going on here and you know, it doesn't seem to be that way. It doesn't
Right.
seem to be that way. It starts at the top, right? Like and if our leaders, you know, don't display Christian lifestyle, how can we really consider ourselves to be a Christian nation? You know, so it's really challenging in this day and time because I feel like in this country there are a lot of people that if you were to ask them, "Are you a Christian?" Most people would say yes. Some people I think are really honest. They're like, "Nah, I'm not." But some people, a good amount of people, especially in the Bible Belt here, would consider themselves to be Christians. You know, but their lifestyle may say a very different thing. You know, so my next topic, like the next thing I want us to tackle together, man, is like how can we avoid being a libertine? Like the people that are described in Jude 4 and 16, how can we avoid being those kinds of people?
Man, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I feel like that's really. I feel like you're on. You play with so many different things here. Like for one, it's a heart issue,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, as much as you want to be a part of and you need other people, ultimately your relationship and making it is on you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, I mean, I would say things for me that help. I listen to a couple of other podcasts, sort of like what we're doing right now. I have the ability to listen to music throughout my day in my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got, kind of an uplifting spiritual playlist. I've got a gospel playlist. I've got like positive message playlist. Like, so that's kind of back to what we were talking about on Sunday about, be careful about what goes into your ears and like what are you letting come in? What are you feeding yourself?
Right.
Um, so I know for me personally, I feed myself far more positive and spiritual information than I do non-positive or non-spiritual information and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like outside of that, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of, I guess it would just kind of be a heart issue of like, are you being real? Like, do you do the things you say you're gonna do, and
Mm-hmm.
like, do you live the life that you're supposed to live?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's hard. That's super hard. Um, Another point that was made on Sunday was, it's hard for the rich man to make it to heaven. Like
Mm-hmm.
with culture and things the way that they are, like I know that's something that I struggle with is that
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a lot of gray, but I want stuff just to be black and white. Like I would love
Mm-hmm.
there just to be like, you can do this, you can't do this, you can do this, you can't do this. And I'd be super okay with that and just be like, all right, well, I'm just not gonna do any of the stuff on the can't list. But like that's
Mm.
not good either.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, man. Going back to your point about what you listen to, that's very important. That's something we talked about Sunday as well. We are the ones that are responsible what we lend our ears to hear. And I think that ultimately what you're listening to a lot defines your mindset and your lifestyle a lot of times, you know. Rick was talking about how like, you know, he's concerned about people that listen to these people that have maybe a different doctrine than what's in the Bible. And because when it comes to things like this, some people have the mindset that was like, you know, it's kind of like eat the meat but spit out the bones. Like you can listen to somebody that maybe their message isn't so good, but you can kind of pick out the good things, in it that you agree with. But it doesn't always work like that, because what we hear, we really consume that, and after a while, that starts to define what we see as true and what's right. That starts to define how we interpret the Bible and things like that. So yeah, finding being very selective with what you listen to, and also who you listen to as well. Like even people, do you listen to those that are grumblers and fault finders? Because if you do, it's just a matter of time before you're going to become a grumbler and a fault finder yourself. I know for me, when I allow myself to listen to a lot of gossip and things like that, I start gossiping myself, because then I start to think, oh, if they're doing it, it's okay. And then I start engaging in that myself. So I think a big part of avoiding being this libertine kind of person that Jude 4 and 6 describe is to really be vigilant with what you allow yourself to hear, because
Right.
eventually it will get into your heart and define your behavior. And there's some other follow-up questions that Rick asked as well, that I think if we can answer these questions honestly, it will also impact our lifestyle and whether or not we are acting as a libertine or not. One is a really deep question: could Satan be using me to hurt the body of Christ with my behavior? That's a really, really deep question. I think that kind of self-reflection, and I'm seeing the ways like how some of your flaws can be used to hurt others and to destroy or diminish their faith, that goes a long way towards really evaluating yourself with the sober judgment that the Bible talks about. It tells us to judge ourselves soberly. I think that's a good thing as well, to see like what are some ways that Satan could use me to hurt others. And if you can focus on those things and tackle those areas, that goes a long way as well towards making sure that you actually are a real Christian and not a libertine. That's like what's it called? The term a wolf in sheep clothing, basically.
Yep.
I think about that emoji. And then also, am I a joy to lead? Think about the people in your life that are leading you, giving you advice and things like that. Is it a joy to want to lead me and to give me advice and things like that? That's another really insightful question. And of course, am I frequently involved in conflict? That's another big one as well. Like if you are, as I like to say, like basically, if you're in a lot of conflicts and arguments, sometimes there's one common denominator, and that's you.
Yeah.
So at some point, if you're always in drama and stuff like that, if you always see that you're in the middle of drama, maybe it's not just the people you're around. Maybe you're the one that could be contributing to that as well.
Yeah. I know. I can safely say I know I have that one under control. I'm one of those flight versus fight people, and like I don't like confrontation. I don't like drama. So
Yeah.
like I'll just be like, all right, well we just do it your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean that's very true. It's like you need to be aware of what your struggles are, what your temptations are, like how is Satan going to use you
Mhm.
to mess with other people, and
Mhm.
I don't even know how to answer that in the sense of like
Mhm.
I'm sure there's something I'm sure everybody has something that they do that like Satan
Mhm.
can use
Yeah.
to bother or to pull down other people. And I guess
Mhm.
it's more of a just like you want to make that as limited as possible. Like you want to make sure like you're not being hypocritical. You're not
Mhm.
like you said, you're not gossiping. You're not like you're just setting the best example that you can,
Yeah.
providing him with the least amount of stuff to use as possible.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I know for me, sometimes I have a tendency to spread gossip. Just being real, like with myself, like I can be the one to spread gossip. And man, like Rick was really stepping on my toes when he talked about a lot of times, like when we preface our statements with a certain thing, we about to get into some stuff that we shouldn't be talking about. Like when he said, I hear you say is like just to be open with you, or just between me and you. That's another one I like to use. Where it's like as soon as you say something like that,
Yeah,
you're about to say something that you wouldn't want somebody else to hear, right? Like something that is most likely some kind of gossip or something, something that you should rather talk about it with the person that you're talking about.
yeah,
And for me, like I'm guilty of that, man. Like, and I think that for me, that's a way that Satan can use me to destroy relationships, in the body of Christ. And I need to be accountable for that, man. I really need to work on that. So hopefully for me, I'm going to start telling people that I'm close to. If you ever hear me say these words, like just being real, or just between me and you, stop me right there and ask me, okay, is something, whatever you're about to say, and if you're about to talk about somebody, are you about to tell me something that you wouldn't tell them? And if the
Right.
answer is yes, don't listen to me.
Yep.
Change the topic.
Nah, that's
Because I think that that's a way that Satan has been trying to use me as well to, like, maybe diminish other people's image of other people, show sowing dissension
yeah,
and gossip and things like that, like that's, and I think Sunday really helped me to think a lot deeper about that, because I say it's not a big deal because I know other people do it with me, like, and it's okay for me to do it, but it's not. It's not okay for me to listen to it,
yeah,
to gossip. It's not okay for me to sow gossip, because that is a way that I could be a libertine. That is a way that I could be like these people in Jude 4 and 16. And I really want to strive to not be like that, because I think I've seen in my life that if the devil was going to use something to try to get me to diminish somebody else's faith, it would be that through
yeah.
gossip.
All right. Well, if I hear you saying it, man, I'm gonna be like, contact. What's going on?
Hold me accountable, man. I'm telling you, like, tell me to shut up or whatever works best, like, just stop me for real, because like it's not gonna be easy, because I've conditioned myself to do that sometimes, where I'll talk about somebody first rather than going directly to them. But I'm gonna get into the practice of not doing that anymore,
Yeah.
So I really want everybody that hears me say those words literally just stop me. Like, don't put your hands on me. You ain't gotta like slap me or nothing like that.
Yeah.
But just gently but firmly tell me, like, with what you're about to say, is it gossip? Is it something that you would not be willing to say to that person?
Yeah.
And if it is, I ain't got nothing to tell you.
You go. That's good, man.
Yeah.
I fortunately I'm in a an excellent work environment where
Mm,
the people that I work with are actively trying to be disciples and Christians as well. And
mm,
so, like, whenever there's any kind of issue, there's never kind of like any drama about like talking about somebody. It's always like, hey, everybody, we need to have a powwow. Like, everybody just come in here, come in here, come here. And it's like, if one person's in trouble, everybody's in trouble. Like we're not gonna talk about
yep.
nobody. We're just gonna say like, look, this is what's happening, and it's making me feel some kind of way. Like, this needs. What
Mm,
can we do to fix this?
exactly.
And I feel like that's actually been really good for me. Helps me not keep stuff in. It keeps me not talking about people behind their backs, because like whenever something happens and somebody gets frustrated, it's automatically dealt with.
Right.
So I got really really blessed in that way.
That's good.
But but yeah, man, it's hard. It's real. We we uh,
Hmm.
we gotta we gotta put in checks to check ourselves and have people in place to help keep us
Hmm.
accountable.
Absolutely, man. That's very rare. Your workplace definitely, that kind of setting is very rare,
Yeah.
because I hear a lot of my friends talk about how at their workplace it's not like that. Like, it's almost like that water cooler talk, right? Like, when people mention that, most of the time water cooler talk is really, gossip, really. And that's what it's just being honest. A lot of times water cooler talk is about gossip. For me, I work from home a lot. I work remotely basically, so I'm not really in an office setting a lot where that happens. But I know a lot of my friends definitely they can relate to this, how easy it is to spread gossip in the workplace, and not only in the workplace but even in church, man. Like, it's really easy to kind of look at people from a distance, make a judgment of them,
Yep.
and then start telling other people about it. It's like, oh, I know so and so, like, they shouldn't be doing that. Was Why won't you go and tell that person then? Like,
Right.
now you have diminished their reputation and their image in front of somebody else.
Right.
So it's really damaging. And I think if we can look at gossip as being damaging to other people, um, it'll really redefine the way that we talk about other people.
Correct. Sorry, I'm moving around so much. My phone is like telling me it's a low battery. Trying not to die on you.
No worries, man. I know mine's probably getting a little bit low too. I'm at 16%.
But yeah, man, no, and that's one of the things. I do have a very rare situation, a very rare job, and I'm very appreciative of it.
Mhm.
And I'm especially appreciative of it because I'm in the entertainment industry, and so like
Yeah.
the entertainment industry is almost designed for you to get ahead by making other people look bad.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
that's what it's
Yeah.
designed.
I
Like,
can see
so
that.
it's like I do have people telling me this and that about all kinds of things, and like I am
Mhm.
aware of like stuff that happens, but I guess part of it is just I don't pay attention.
Mm,
And part of it is that like it's not interesting to me. Like that's just not how my group is.
mm.
And so like my group is really active in trying to like build each other up and help each other. So I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, cool, man. That's good, man. So definitely take advantage of that, you know, like that's
Yes.
really that kind of those kind of practices can be helpful to implement in other areas of your life as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, cool, man.
Very
Did
nice.
you have any other major takeaways
I did not. I was
from
going to ask
from
if that
Sunday?
was all the questions. I know he had a list of questions. I couldn't remember how many was on the list.
Mhm.
Very nice.
Yeah, those are the ones that I wrote down. But
Okay.
if I could summarize them in two things and two questions to
Yeah.
take away as self-reflection, I would say it's the first two that I mentioned.
Okay.
The first one being, am I taking responsibility for what I listen to,
Yep.
what I hear? And also, could Satan be using me to hurt the body of Christ? And I'll take it even further. Like, how would Satan use you to hurt the body of Christ? Like, if
Right.
you were going to be his tool to hurt others, what would that be? We all know that about ourselves. I think
Right.
we all know the ways that our flaws and weaknesses can negatively impact others. So, in what way do you think Satan could use you to hurt others? And whatever that is, that gives you a good starting point for improving yourself in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm gonna be
Yeah,
thinking
so
on it, man.
I will too, man. I will be too. So that's the practical takeaway. I'll post the scriptures and the
Okay.
on the page for the group, the
Perfect.
dynamic discipleship page. I'll post
Yep.
the scripture up there as a reference. But yeah, that's everything I have now, man. I hope next time we can be back in the studio. But
Yep.
I understand with your current situation and everything. Hopefully that'll all be resolved soon, and we'll be back in the studio next time.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. I appreciate you sticking to a schedule and for us being
Yes.
able to make this work even though we couldn't get in there.
Consistency, yes. Hey,
Got to.
something is better than nothing, you know.
Yep.
Something is better than nothing to keep this thing going and keep the momentum going.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I'll go ahead and get this uploaded and we'll talk soon.
Okay. Sounds good, man. I appreciate you.
No problem, man.
All right.
Later.
Peace.
Peace.